Have you ever wondered why a totally ridiculous story, like alligator-sized goldfish in a city lake, just spreads like wildfire, while your brilliant, game-changing business proposal is pretty much forgotten by lunchtime? Well, it's not about truth, and it's not even about importance. It's about stickiness. So today, we're going to unlock the secrets of what makes an idea truly memorable, using the incredible framework from the book Made to Stick.
I mean, let's really think about this for a second. How is it that carefully researched, super important ideas just fall flat? And at the same time, a completely made-up story about organ thieves in a hotel can become this global phenomenon that lasts for decades. It all boils down to this one powerful concept: stickiness.
Okay, let's make this real. On the left, you've got this chilling, unforgettable image. A guy wakes up in a bathtub full of ice, missing a kidney. On the right, here's a sentence from a real nonprofit report. Comprehensive community building naturally lends itself to a return on investment rationale. I mean, come on, be honest. Which one are you still going to be thinking about in an hour? The answer is so obvious, but the reason why, well, that's what we're here to figure out.
The biggest villain in this whole story, the main reason our ideas fail, is something the authors brilliantly called the curse of knowledge. Think about it like this. Try tapping out the rhythm of a super common song like Happy Birthday on a table. In your head, you can hear the music, the words, the whole orchestra, right? It's perfectly clear. But to someone listening, they just hear a bunch of random taps. That is the curse. Once we know something, it becomes almost impossible to remember what it felt like not to know it.
But here's the game-changing part. Making an idea stick isn't some kind of magic. It's not an art form you have to be born with. It's actually a science. The curse of knowledge can be beaten, systematically. There's a practical, repeatable formula that can turn pretty much any idea into something unforgettable.
And this is it. This is the master key to making ideas sticky, the success framework. That's simple, unexpected, concrete, credible, emotional, and stories. These 6 principles, they're our roadmap. So let's break them down, one by one.
First up, let's tackle the first 2 principles. It all starts with finding the absolute core of your message, and then, and this is key, you have to break people's expectations to even get their attention in the first place. Let's dive into simple and unexpected.
Now, simple does not mean dumbed down or simplistic. It means finding the absolute, unbreakable core of your idea. Think of it like a proverb. It's short, but it's profound. Just look at the difference here. You've got the forgettable corporate jargon on the left versus JFK's crystal clear mission on the right. One is just wallpaper. The other put a human being on the moon.
Okay, now for unexpected. The human brain is basically a pattern matching machine. It's always guessing what's next. So to get attention, you have to break that pattern. There's this great story from Nora Ephron about her journalism teacher. He gave the class a bunch of facts about a faculty meeting. Every single student wrote the same obvious lead. And then the teacher revealed the real lead, which was buried in the notes. There will be no school next Thursday. Boom. By shattering their expectations, he taught a lesson they would never, ever forget.
So your idea is simple and unexpected. That's great. You've got their attention. But that's not enough. If people can't actually picture what you're talking about, and if they don't believe you, your idea is dead on arrival. And that's where our next 2 principles come in: concrete and credible.
Abstraction is the mortal enemy of a sticky idea. What does world-class customer service even mean? It's just meaningless fog. But what about a story of a Nordstrom employee who, completely unasked, went outside to start a customer's car to warm it up on a cold day? That is concrete. You can see it, you can feel it, and you're not going to forget it.
And when it comes to credibility, it doesn't always have to come from some expert with a fancy title. Sometimes a single, powerful statistic can do all the heavy lifting. Get this. When you ask most Americans, they think the U.S. spends about 15% of its budget on foreign aid. The reality? It's less than 1%. That single, verifiable fact is so much more persuasive than an hour of debate because it uses the audience's own frame of reference to make a credible point. It's shocking.
Okay, we're almost there. We've got an idea that is simple, unexpected, concrete, and credible. But we are still missing the most important ingredient of all, the human element. We have to make people care. And that is where emotion and stories come into play.
3 million children. I mean, it's a massive, tragic number, and our analytical brain totally gets it. But our emotional brain, it just kind of shuts down. It's too big, too abstract. Mother Teresa famously said, "If I look at the mass, I will never act. If I look at the one, I will." The sheer scale of a problem can actually stop us from feeling anything at all.
Now let's see this principle in action.
A study gave one group of people that big statistic we just saw. Another group was simply told about one little girl named Rokia. And the result? People gave more than double the amount of money for Rokia. We are just biologically wired to feel for individuals, not for abstract statistics. If you want to make people care, you have to make them feel something for a person.
And finally, that brings us to stories. They are the ultimate delivery system for sticky ideas. Stories are like flight simulators for the brain. When we hear a compelling story, our brain actually rehearses the actions and feels the emotions right along with the characters. It's knowledge and inspiration all rolled into one. Just think about the most powerful stories you know. They're almost always about overcoming a huge challenge, making a human connection, or having some brilliant creative breakthrough.
So, how do we put all of this together? How do we go from just understanding these principles to actually using them, to make sure our own ideas are the ones that don't just survive, but actually thrive?
It all comes back to this one powerful checklist. Before you present your next big idea, just run it through the SUCSS framework. Is the core of it simple? Is there an element of surprise? Can people picture it? Is it credible? Does it make an emotional connection? And can you wrap it all in a story? If you can check these boxes, you've done the hard work to make it stick.
So from now on, don't just focus on how brilliant or well-researched your idea is. That's not enough. Instead, ask yourself the only question that really matters. Is it sticky?